Welcome, everybody. Wednesday, September 13th. John Arvosis here with the Arvosis Report, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. to talk to you about the latest news from Ukraine. Today's big story we're going to be talking about is Ukraine's attack on the Russian naval base at Crimea. Very successful attack. In the meantime, let me get TikTok rolling here on my iPad. And why don't you guys introduce yourselves while we are waiting for people to file in? So please do that. Say where you're from, if you would. Mirror image. Boom. There we go. Woo! I even had a nap today, so I may or may not yawn. We shall see. Oh, get my microphone. Microphone. TikTok microphone. Get my TikTok microphone on. There we go. Hate when I do that. They're not there yet. There we go. Now I got it on. Hello, TikTokers. Hey, Ash. Oh, boy. Welcome, everybody. Sir Goose with the cool little thing, with the cool little emoji. Hey, guys. Hey, Catherine, Newfoundland. Lovely, or Newfoundland, however you guys say it. Howdy, Sir Goose. So what's going on, guys? How we doing? Having my last little bit of tea here. I did a half-hour nap, but it actually felt good. Привет, Marie. Good to see you. I know. Tonight I will end the stream. Last night, apparently, I left the stream running on YouTube for half an hour while I was playing with the dogs in the hall. Is TikTok being evil or no? You tell me. Is TikTok being okay or not? Hey, Rich, I'm on live every night. They may not tell you every night, but I am live Monday to Friday at least, 6 p.m. Eastern. They may not always tell you on TikTok, but Wollongong, Australia. There's a name. Hey, Kath Lou. Anyway, exactly. Welcome to all our listeners everywhere. Hey, thank you, Big Hawk. Appreciate that. It's buffering a bit. Yeah, TikTok. TikTok. My internet, but I'm back in DC, so my internet should be very good here. So hopefully it's good. Anyway, guys, we'll wait another minute and then get rolling here. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate the gifts. And Sean. Thanks, guys. Oh, and Adam. All the TikTok gifts coming in. Colorado Springs. Oh, God, Carlos. Yeah, it's fall already. That's scary. Does it say Chicago? Oh, I've got to change that. I thought I changed it. I did change it yesterday. I must have not changed it. Somehow it changed back. Oh, well. Hey, Gothenburg, Sweden. Yeah, I changed it back yesterday, and then I must have picked the wrong template. Oh, well, I'm actually in Washington. Ooh, we did pretty well with this puppy fundraiser. We did a puppy fundraiser today to help Amanda Bear Mod, thank you, Chief, with her dog that is having surgery soon for what looks to be cancer. And she needs over $5,000 for the surgery. It's $4,700 for the surgery. CAT scan is very expensive. Anyway, we are up to, I think, $3,700, I think. Thank you, Killers of Geek. $3,700 of the money she needs, but that's pretty good because she needs $4,700 for the actual surgery alone. So at least she's within 1,000 striking distance, which is much better than where she was. Thank you, Vicky. They may have to skip the CAT scan, but the vet said they're fine with that. Anyway, we did a fundraiser earlier today to help Amanda raise some money. If anybody wants to help, you can still go to my profile at aravosis.com. And the very first link that comes up will be the GoFundMe for Amanda. If you want to help, please do. All right, guys, let me get rolling here. Yeah, YouTube, TikTok is for some reason being in a weird little spate where it's not kicking out. The last couple of days, the lives have not been kicking out on TikTok, and I don't know why. It's been a little strange because you can tell because the people aren't here yet. Maybe the Russians don't love me anymore. You think the Russians are like giving up on me? Oh, well. All right, guys. So welcome, everybody. I am John Aravosis. This is the Aravosis Report, my nightly show I do from Washington, D.C. to talk about the latest news from Ukraine. The way the show works, I will go through the news for the first half hour or so, and then the second half of the show, I will take your guys' questions. What was I going to say? If you want to ask questions early on, before the question period, thank you, Konkaranga, or as Stephen Perry just did, you can do a super chat question. That's either a question or a request. Stephen wanted to see the map. Now he gets to see the map because he bought the question. Thank you, Stephen. But you can do, the Russians are here and they're hopping mad. Oh, you're going to be even more mad when you hear about the submarine that the Ukrainians destroyed along with your ship. Woo! Bad news. Actually, it's a pretty funny story. Angel just got his wings, by the way. So yeah, we're gonna if you guys want, you can obviously do gifts. I got thrown by that. The gift thing, always welcome. Thank you, Succeed, and thank you, Soren. The way we do gifts is you guys can do gifts on TikTok, which are the fun things on the page. I will always do a little shout out when I see the big ones, like Chad's right there. And hello from in Kohovka. In Kohovka, you're going to be in Kherson. So good to see you. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. And you can do gifts on YouTube as well, the super chats and the super stickers, clicking the $sign at the bottom of the page by the comment box. Super stickers are just fun little things to throw on the page for donations. Super questions, you can ask a question, but you pay for it, which is a contribution. And I will always answer that as the next question as a thank you. So let's get rolling, guys. But yeah, please do keep the gifts coming because I do this for free and I do it full time. And quite literally, your gifts pay the bills. I've been able to do this because your guys' gifts. So please do keep them coming. Thank you, Jetta. All right, guys. Today is day 567 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation. Quick update. We finished our fundraiser last night. Thank you, Arifa and Adam both. We finished our fundraiser last night for the sniper training. We raised the money we needed. We needed $700. We got $780. So I pulled the fundraiser. Very helpful. What we were doing was Vlad, my friend Vlad, thank you, best worst. My friend Vlad knows thank you, Vicky, a soldier in Ukraine who is a sniper. And he'd been through so many explosions that he finally can't snipe anymore. So he is training other snipers, and he needed a weather forecast device and a range, like a rangefinder. These are two tools snipers use, but he needed them for the training of other Ukrainian snipers. They needed $700. You guys chipped in. They've now got the $700. So the Ukrainian sniper training little facility, the one guy, is now going to have the equipment he needs to train more snipers. Thank you for you guys. So thank you for that. Ukraine's attack on Crimea. So this was a wild thing last night. Thank you, Nick. Last night at around 2 a.m. So that's going to be, actually, that would be maybe 7 a.m. It was probably right after we finished our show last night. The Ukrainians launched an attack on the Russian naval base in Sevastopol, Crimea. Thank you again for that, best worst. Thank you, Adventures. Crimea is the peninsula in southern Ukraine that the Russians stole in 2014, okay? And Sevastopol is the naval base right down here at the tip. Russia's big naval base in the Black Sea is Sevastopol. Now, a lot of the ships were already moved out. Thank you, Adventures. A lot of the ships were already moved out because the Ukrainians had been attacking it previously and the Russians were pretty freaked out. So they had moved a lot of their ships over to, Novorossiysk, which is in Russia over here, to try to get it away from the Ukrainians over here. But the Ukrainians attacked last night. It looks, the Russians are saying they used 10 cruise missiles and 3 boat drones. Who knows what's true? What we do know is the Ukrainian officials and Western officials are saying that for sure the missiles the Ukrainians used were Storm Shadow missiles. Now, that's very interesting because the Storm Shadow cruise missiles are the British cruise missiles. So pretty wild. Now, I will say, I'm pretty sure, I'm 99.9% sure I remember this, that the Brits had said previously that the Ukrainians were free to use their weapons to attack Crimea because Crimea is not Russia. Crimea is Ukraine. Nonetheless, it's still pretty interesting that they use the British missiles to go after the Russian fleet. Now, if 10 missiles were used, that's quite a lot. What we do know at this point is at least 2 ships were destroyed, 1 ship and 1 submarine. The submarine is a Kilo-class submarine. It is an improved Kilo-class submarine. Now, what that means is the submarine has cruise missiles. It has the caliber cruise missiles that the Russians have been using to, Ash, go a little more slowly on that. Every time you put that up, my eye is catching it and I keep looking at it. I definitely want it up there, but not every 30 seconds, okay? The caliber class cruise missile is the caliber cruise missile is the cruise missiles that the improved Kilo class submarines have. What main point here is the submarine that the Ukrainians knocked out was one of Russia's submarines that they are using to attack Ukraine with, that they're attacking Ukrainian cities with. This was I guess 20%. So it's one of the 5 operating submarines that the Russians had going at the time. It is one of 4 of the improved Kilo class. So one of the 4 submarines that had the cruise missiles has now been knocked out. Big deal. The other ship is a landing ship. It's been destroyed. 2 other ships reportedly were damaged. Now, the Russians are claiming everything can be fixed. They're lying. The experts are saying the damage, look, the landing ship, forget it. Landing ship is done. The submarine is probably done. This was a dry dock, which basically is, a dock area where you basically repair ships. Another really important thing here is that the Ukrainians damaged the dry dock significantly. There was a huge fire last night. Actually, I think it had already happened because I showed you guys the pic of the fire last night, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did. It was at least on the agenda last night, but we weren't quite sure what had happened yet. Let me find this really quick just to show you the yeah, this was the picture of the thank you, Ellie. This was the picture of the fire in the dock. This was probably the landing ship. I mean, great fire in the dock. Now, what's important about that, as I said, is also that the dry dock itself was damaged. That means it is going to be difficult for the Russians to repair their ships because they just lost one of the main ship repair facilities they've got. So this was huge across the board. Let me look here. Michael Clark of Sky News, their defense expert, called it an audacious attack. The Russians are claiming at least 24 people were injured in the dock itself. These could have been crews working a night shift, whatever it was. An added interesting element of the story, some Russian chatter that was intercepted said that the Russians in Sevastopol, so Sevastopol is the city there, right? The Russian authorities in Sevastopol freaked out when the attack happened, and some rumor started that the Ukrainians had secret sabotage squads running around Sevastopol. So these idiot local police, thank you, Ellie, the local police figured they were going to help out, thank you, Life, and they sent the police out looking for the sabotage squads, and they found one and they opened fire, except the sabotage squad they opened fire on was not the Ukrainians. The local police opened fire on the Russian military. Thank you, Original Vlad. And the military and the police started fighting at each other, and thank you, Vicky, 4 people ended up dead. I believe it was 3 police and 1 soldier that ended up dead. Just sort of an added what's the word I'm looking for? An added plus on the Ukrainian side from this attack. So really crazy across the board. Anyway, good news across the board on that. Really amazing. Nuclear war did not break out as a result, by the way. Remember, this was the kind of attack that Elon Musk claimed, this kind of attack will lead to nuclear war. The Ukrainians have done it repeatedly. There's been no nuclear war. Elon today had a new, dare I call it a lie? Who knows? But Elon had a new excuse today for why he killed the Ukrainian attack last fall on the Crimea, a similar attack. Remember, story came out a few days ago, a new book that came out, I guess, this week by Walter Isaacson, who was a very respected American journalist, is not anymore respected, where he said that Elon found out about an impending attack the Ukrainians were doing last fall against the Russian fleet in Sevastopol, just exactly what they did last night. And Elon freaked out because he determined that it would cause nuclear war after talking to the Russian ambassador and maybe Vladimir Putin. They told him they were going to use nukes if the Ukrainians attacked. Like the idiot he is, Elon believed them. So Elon unplugged the internet for Crimea and turned off Starlink and literally killed the Ukrainian attack. Well, Elon then started denying he told the author that. I mean, he literally told the author this, denies it, and says, whatever. Elon's denying it now, but giving kind of a half-assed denial because he's saying as well that, well, they asked me to turn it on and I refused because I didn't want to be a party. Well, now Elon has a new lie. So, and I call it a lie because I got to tell you, when somebody comes up with like 3 different reasons why they didn't do something, and the last reason is one you didn't hear about until today, you kind of have to wonder if it's true. Because if it's true, why didn't they tell you that from the beginning? Why didn't he tell the author months ago when he interviewed for the books about that? Listen to Elon's new excuse he gave at some kind of an event he was speaking at today. This is a paraphrase. U.S. sanctions on Russia meant that Starlink near Crimea could not be turned on for the Ukrainian military operation without the permission of the U.S. president, Elon said at a summit in Los Angeles. This was actually yesterday he said this. So Elon's new excuse that he didn't tell anybody before, He didn't tell anybody months ago when he interviewed for the book about why this wasn't working. He said, I turned it off. I literally went and turned it off mid-attack, he said to the author. Then he claimed, no, it was always off, right? Now he's claiming that it would have violated U.S. sanctions if he turned on the internet, and he couldn't do it without the president's permission, which of course begs the question, thank you, Pam, why didn't he get the president's permission, right? You don't think Elon Musk, the richest man, well, he was the richest man in the world, then he bought Twitter and really screwed the pooch on that one and no longer the richest man in the world. But you don't think Elon could have called Biden and said, hey, the Ukrainians, I mean, he had time to call Putin. He had time to call the Russian ambassador. He couldn't call the Americans and say, hey, I want to turn this. He's such a liar. But also, he said he turned it off. He said he turned it off and he refused to turn it on because he wasn't going to be a party. Now he's claiming he would turn it on. He's the man. I'm telling you guys, I've said this before. I have been following him for about a year now since he bought Twitter. He is a pathological liar, this guy. I mean, it is so. I mean, I almost want to not say liar and say maybe he's just a total goofball and his brain doesn't work. Right. But so many things like this that he says, literally, it's like you've been telling different stories and different stories and different stories. And now you come up with a new one. Oh, he's just a piece of work. Anyway, Russian President Putin met with North Korean dictator Kim today in Russian Far East. We don't quite know. Thank you, Scott. We don't quite know what was agreed. Obviously, big concern is that the Russians are going to give the Koreans technology, military technology, and that the North Koreans, that is, are going to give the Russians artillery shells, among other things. The Russians are, running low on artillery. They're certainly having to dig into their stores of artillery, and they really don't have enough to replace. I mean, they're using around 7 million shells, more or less, a year. The Russians can only produce 1 million, maybe 2 million shells a year. And they're down to maybe 10 million shells, but that 10 million shells is only going to last them another year and a half. So the Russians can go another year and a half, but then they're in trouble. Anyway, we think the Koreans probably agreed to give them that, the North Koreans, but we don't know. Russian forces, a quick little update on the counteroffensive. Nothing really too big to tell you on this. Russian forces have started to strengthen the third line of defense in the Russian-occupied territories of Zaporizhia, according to the exiled mayor there. Now let me show you here. Zaporizhia is the province here. So if the Russians are beefing up the third line of defense, that would be the defensive lines down here on the way to Tokmak and on the way to Melitopol. Remember, a big goal of Ukraine's counteroffensive is to try to cut the Russian occupation in half, either physically by getting their troops all the way to the border or getting close enough that they can use their weapons to blow up the Russian, thank you, Ali, the Russian roadways, Ukrainian roadways that the Russians are using here to ship supplies back and forth. Hey, Zheka in Dnipro, good to see you. Woo! All right, let me tell you about our auctions really quick. Actually, I'm doing a pretty quick show today. I think since I had my tea, I'm going a little fast today. Sorry about that. We've got more auctions up finally. I kind of waited a week. I was waiting until I got home and got more stuff up. Took me a while. The auctions are now up. Let me show you a couple of the items. What we do basically on Discord, I run a Discord community. It's the same group of folks that are here. We talk about a lot of stuff. Did my sound die on YouTube or no? Kanowski is saying sound, although that's kind of a one-word thing. No, okay. Everyone's saying sound. What does that mean? Okay. Sorry, real quick on TikTok. Oh, it went funny. Okay, it's back now. In the future, don't give me one word. Give me like a sentence. So yeah, thank you. All right. So we've got a Discord community. A lot of talk about Ukraine, a lot of talk about other stuff there. Thank you, Fred. I hang out there. I go there every day so we can go and, if you guys got questions and stuff, please do check it out. One of the things we do there, though, is I've got a really cool auction that I do, of cool stuff from Ukraine that I get. And what is helpful about that is the auction stuff, 50% of the proceeds I channel back into Ukraine for humanitarian aid, also help for the military lately. We've been buying the military camouflage nets and things like that. The other 50% goes to support me because I do this for free and I'm doing it full time. This is literally my job that I've been doing on the last year and a half. Thank you, Ali. So those contributions for that help. Now, let me show you some of the stuff we've got in this week's auction. I haven't put everything up. Thank you, Mustard, but I've got a lot of it up. First, very cool piece that Mustard's already bid on, but I love this. This is a piece of a Russian fighter jet, an Su-34, and got it in Ukraine. It's a really nice, it's a really cool piece. If anybody remembers, the old pieces I had were much smaller. This is a really neat piece. It's got, the rubber around here, the rivets. This side, you can see sort of the two pieces together. I love this side, though, because of the color. I think the color is really cool. But radioactive, yeah. The Russians do a lot of things, but making their planes radioactive, they do not do, which is good. Anyway, it's an Su-34, very cool. Shot down in eastern Ukraine on December 2nd, they believe. Could be shot down over Kharkiv, could have been Bakhmut. They're not exactly sure which place it was shot down over. Another very cool thing is a spent shell casing, Russian, from basically the shells that are shot from a BMP, from an infantry fighting vehicle. This is a BMP-3. Basically, just a little, the kind of vehicles that people often think are tanks, but they're not tanks. Okay, that's an infantry fighting vehicle. This is the shell, but some Ukrainians took the shells and they carved on one side the Ukrainian trident, and then the other side is an angel, which I think I love this. I think it's absolutely fabulous. You kind of have to see it in person to really appreciate it, because I don't, it's 3D, but it's really, and I love it with the trident there. Isn't that neat? Yeah, it's very cool. But very cool. So anyway, bidding on these, and because it's totally cut out, I'm doing these for international bids too, because it's not a shell anymore. 3/4 of it's missing, but it's kind of neat, isn't it? And sort of as Ukrainian military folk art as well, it's kind of cool. Couple other things. This, I think, is absolutely adorable. Vlad, my friend Vlad, thank you, Danan. My friend Vlad went shopping in Ukraine, where he lives, and he's Ukrainian, and wanted to buy some, bracelets for us to auction off. Thank you, David. And his daughter wanted to pick them out. So Vicky, Vlad's daughter, picked out this bracelet herself. It is the emblem of the Ukrainian Armed Forces on there, the ZSU, and you can see the Ukrainian trident. But it's really pretty. It's like the black leather, boop, boop, boop. Very cool. I love this. I just think it's very pretty, very pretty. So check that out. And the final thing I will show you really quick is a painted Ukrainian Easter egg. It's in plastic to protect it for the moment, but a painted Ukrainian Easter egg. But it is a wooden egg, which is very cool. So wooden egg, because I've got some of the other eggs too, but the other eggs are obviously much more, you got to be careful with them. I do have some of the pisanka eggs. Exactly. I've got some of the other eggs that are actual eggs, and I will be auctioning those off too. This is a wooden one, which I like because you're not going to break it, but it's very cool. So it's the hand painted. Now it's in plastic, cellophane. I don't want to take the plastic off, but you guys can see, but it's the very pretty hand painted Easter eggs they do. But it's nice because, as I said, it comes with a little stand, which is kind of cute because it looks like the stand you use when you eat the eggs. But anyway, that's very cool too. Yep, the detail work. And a couple other things. I don't have everything here. One of our fridge magnets. This fridge magnet isn't up yet, but it's the in honor of the attack in Crimea. It's the Ukrainian Navy fridge magnet put out by the Ukrainian government. So it's in honor of the Navy. I've got one of the cool fridge magnets of the trident. That's really neat. This was painted by hand, which is really cool, by this volunteer's mom, who's an artist, and she makes these and sent us some for free, which was really sweet. And then I've got a Ukrainian, the rest of these are not up yet, so you'll just have to see when they get up there, but a Ukrainian military hat that I got as well. This one's new. I know people like Mustard like them old and used. This one's a clean new one, but it's a cool Ukrainian military hat, which I like. It's a nice hat. It's like a nice low hat. You can imagine military when you see this, but it's nice. It's a nice new, Ukrainian hat. Anyway, So number of different things to bid on, guys. I got a lot of cool stuff. There will be even more cool stuff in the next few weeks, but go check it out. Try it on. I could try it on. I don't want to mess up my hair. Actually, oh, you know what? This is interesting. This hat does not adjust. I thought all the hats adjusted. Oh, this one is a specific size. I don't think it's going to fit on me. It's not going to fit on me. All right, you can see, but it's not going to fit. It's too tight I have a very large hat size. I did not realize how interesting. So some of these military hats, they literally are the size. So this is a size 57 Ukrainian, which I'll have to figure out what that is comparably, but I'm like a 7 3/4 hat size, I think. So fold in half and measure. Okay, I'll have to do what, fold in half and then measure it. Yeah, but anyway, exactly. I'm a big brain, so not going to work on me. It's a cool hat though. It's not adjustable. I'll have to look at it later, but I don't think it's adjustable. No, I'm very surprised. Ukraine, very inefficient here, my Ukrainian friends. Yeah, it's a single-sized hat. Any of you military folks know, is that normal, making like a single-sized hat? Is that like a thing? 57, it says, which I'm guessing must mean like centimeter or whatever it is. Yeah. Yes and no. I love when you guys disagree. They're like, yes, no, mostly. I would have thought you could make them custom. All right. Anyway, let me put my air on and then let's continue with the news. There's some news on F-16s as well. Hang on, guys. There we go. So even in the U.S. Army. Okay. I never knew that. Like you had one size or fitted hats. Yeah. It's a very nice fitted hat, but it's a smaller one. Like I said, small for me, but I have a large hat size. So F-16s, interesting story today that the U.S. could have the first Ukrainian pilots trained on F-16 fighters by the end of the year, though it will be longer before they're actually flying combat missions, according to the director of the U.S. Air National Guard. He said that Ukrainian pilots are expected to arrive at Morris Air National Guard Base in Tucson, Arizona by October. They're going to be evaluated for their English skills. And then depending on their English proficiency and their previous fighter jet experience, they will be put into U.S. training within 3 months. Now, he did say a couple different caveats. After completing the U.S. training, the Ukraine... here's something that I thought sounded kind of funny for you military folks. This part sounded a little odd to me. So the U.S. Air National Guard guy said, after completing the pilot training, the Ukrainians would need to return to Europe for additional NATO training. NATO allies are also training Ukrainians on how to maintain the aircraft, and this will also need to be completed before the jets can fly combat. Is maintenance of the aircraft something the pilot does in addition to the crew? Because I would think you train the pilot to fly it and you train the crew to take care of it, right? Like the maintenance guys, the mechanics. Do you actually have to train the pilots to take care of the plane? Because that's what this is saying. And that seems odd to me. Yeah, then what the hell is he talking about? That's what I thought. This article sounded like BS to me. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Because the article said just that. The Ukrainian pilots are expected to, listen to this. However, after completing the U.S. training, however, meaning it'll take longer, the Ukrainians would need to return to Europe for additional NATO training. NATO allies are also, now the only question would be if they're doing other NATO training that is not mechanical training, but is additional flying training, right? Combat training, that kind of stuff. Maybe that's what they mean. It says will also need to be completed. We know that. General David Alvin, the nominee to become the next chief of the Air Force, told senators at his confirmation hearing today that on average, the F-16 training will take 6 to 9 months. The 9-month time frame is the estimate to get pilots with no previous fighter jet experience flying. So that's a whole other ballgame. So somebody who's never flown a fighter jet, it'll take 9 months. That's like Independence Day, with the what's his face who flies into the spaceship. I mean, a lot of these pilots, one would hope would have training, fighter jet training. Let me see. Pilot needs to have knowledge of the machine in case they break down in the field. Well, okay, that's interesting. Pilot needs to do basic flight checks. That I know, and a walk around to identify issues. Okay, so maybe that's some of it then. Maybe it is some of that. Thank you, Canalsi. Yeah, maybe that's what's going on then. Okay. In any case, this is one of those articles I get annoyed about because the administration basically leaks the news and tries to make it sound like, oh, we're moving ahead. And then the article says they're moving ahead, but not really. Right? Training may be done in 3 months, but they won't get the planes for another 6 to 8. So it's like whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. I will be happy once the F-16s arrive. Let's put it that way. Romania is reporting. Thank you, Timothy, for the TikTok gift. Keep them coming, guys. Romania is reporting that they have found the remains of what appears to be a third Russian drone that landed in Romanian territory. You'll recall about a week and a half ago, the Russians have been attacking Ukraine in sort of southwestern Ukraine-ish, or southwestern, down here, maybe south. Down here, right here goes along the Danube River. There are some Ukrainian ports that are used to export grain, and the Russians have been blowing up the ports because they don't want Ukraine to export the grain. Well, the problem the Russians are having is these ports are right along the Danube River. The other side, the other bank in the Danube is Romania, a NATO ally. And the Russians have been warned that you are getting awfully close to hitting NATO when you hit the Ukrainians on the water. Thank you, boy mom. Well, the Russians didn't care. They last week or 10 days ago attacked the Ukrainians, and what do you know? They blew up one of the drones, or two of the drones landed in Romania and exploded. Okay. Well, the Ukrainians noted that this happened. The Romanians denied it. And then like a day later, because the Ukrainians had video, thank you, Marie. The Ukrainians had video. The Romanians were forced to admit, okay, that is our territory. Thank you, Timothy. And then it picked up steam. Then the Romanians started getting pissed off. Then the Romanians found the remains of a second drone. Then the Romanians found the remains of a third drone. So Romania's getting a little annoyed now because of all of this, which is very interesting, actually. They're building some bomb shelters and things along the border. I mean, it is not anything that will trigger Article 5, no, because at this point, even though I would argue it's negligent on the Russians' part, Russia is not intending to attack a NATO ally, right? So that it's not a declaration of war. Having said that, Russia is negligently attacking a NATO ally. Russia knew from the beginning. We have told Russia weeks, if not a couple months ago, Russia was told to stop it, right? To basically stop it. You are within a couple hundred feet of Romania. You will hit NATO territory with these bombs. Russia didn't care, and they hit NATO territory 3 times. And again, the first one for sure. We know the first one wasn't just a piece of a drone. The first one was an explosion on Romanian territory. That, after that happens, you don't do anymore. And Russia keeps doing it. So I think this is another of those, exactly, it's reckless and negligent, as Daniel's saying. Thank you, Eva. What bothers me about this is yet another example of, unless we teach the Russians a lesson, they're going to keep doing this. And I feel like, of course, you don't declare war over it, but you know what you do? For example, Biden has been trying to decide on ATACMS, on these missiles that get fired from the HIMARS, and a lot of us have been wanting Ukraine to get them because they have longer range. Because of the drone strikes in Romania, you say, because of Russia's drone strikes in Romania, I have made it pushed it. What's the word expression? It sort of pushed things over, or it, you know what I mean? Like jumping across a line kind of thing, where basically I've now decided to give Ukraine the ATACMS missiles that they've been wanting because of what Russia did, right? You link it. You make Russia respond. You literally, we're dealing with a dog or a child here when you're dealing with Russia and when dealing with Putin, right? Treat them like you would a child, right? Hugs if you do good. No dessert if you do bad. And in this case, Russia needs to lose its dessert. And we never do that, though. We never seem to make Russia pay a price for anything. So frankly, again, if I were advising Putin, I would say, who cares if you hit Romania, right? NATO's not going to do anything. And if anything, all you're doing is freaking out the Romanians. This is good, right? You're freaking out. You're going to freak out all the peaceniks. You're going to freak out the Elon Musks who are going to go, oh my God, war with Romania, NATO, nuclear war. Right? That's what Putin wants. Putin wants these things blowing up so everyone thinks, oh, this war's gotten out of control. We've got to stop it now. Stop it now when Russia controls 17% of Ukraine, right? A few more stories. Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia have now banned Russian cars from entering their countries. Diplomatic plates are exempt. This was in response to a new European Union or European Commission ruling or recommendation based on the sanctions. Under the EU's decision, motor vehicles registered in Russia are no longer allowed to enter the territory of the 27-member bloc. Kind of funny, only because this is so Baltic states. The Baltic states are Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, which are kind of basically north of Ukraine. North of Ukraine, you get sort of west, you get Poland, north, you get Belarus, and then a little bit to the left and up, you get Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. They so cannot stand the Russians. And it's funny because they're always standing up to them and just literally cutting off their cars. I mean, I think it's good. I think it would be better. I think the Europeans ought to basically cut off Europe for Russian vacationers as well. You know, if the Russians are going to be at war and commit genocide, you don't get to vacation in Nice. It's not, or in the Greek islands. It's not, or in the Turkish islands, although Turkey would never go along. Germany provided Ukraine with 20 Marder infantry fighting vehicles, reconnaissance and surveillance equipment, munitions, and other aid in their latest aid package. And that is it. All right, guys. That's it for, we can now do Q&A. I've shown you the auction stuff. Please do consider becoming a member as well of the various services I've got set up, guys, to help me keep doing this work. Basically, it just means you become a monthly contributor. You can do it on TikTok with SNN. Basically, TikTok subscriber right on the screen right there. You guys can do it on YouTube. The green named folks are my paid YouTube subscribers who are giving me a monthly contribution, like Tom, like Dark Irish, like Luna, Greg, Anne, Chris, I'm trying to think, Susan, Carrie, and a bunch of other people. You can go to the bottom of the screen, click the $ by the comment box, and become a contributor. You can also do Ko-fi, which Jens just shared the link there. I've got Ko-fi on my browser at the bottom as well. Ko-fi, and you guys can find it in my link on TikTok, the link in my bio. Ko-fi is a service just like Patreon. And it's another service you can use to do monthly contributions. You can also go to my Discord. And on my Discord, you can sign up for free, but you have the option of joining with a monthly contribution as well. But if you guys can help, it would help me a lot. I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Chazak. So if you subscribe via YouTube, you do not get to stay on TikTok for subscriber time, but you would be able to join the weekend show. When I do the weekend subscriber, I actually don't usually do the TikTok subscriber without doing the other ones. What we do typically is basically, Annette's asking one of the benefits we do for the subscribers. For the monthly subscribers, I do a Saturday show at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday mornings, almost every Saturday morning. Vlad usually joins us from Ukraine, beams in, and we talk about the latest in a nice sort of small, intimate group. We do that live on TikTok for the TikTok subscribers. We also do it simultaneously live on Discord for the YouTube, Discord, Twitch, Ko-fi. Maybe there's somebody else I'm forgetting. All the other monthly subscribers. So if you subscribe on YouTube, you would go to Discord, join my Discord for free, and then in your Discord account, you would simply link YouTube to Discord. We can help you. I mean, that's the kind of thing I or the mods over on Discord could explain to you. But yeah, that's how you would do it. That's how you do it. Is there a TikTok gift of a burning sub? I wish. I wish. Discord is a little confusing. I mean, if you want, then I would say, if you want, don't sign up on YouTube, sign up over here on TikTok, because you can just join on TikTok on Saturday mornings. It's easier. It's easier for you because TikTok, there's nothing you have to do on TikTok. You just become a paid subscriber and you're allowed entry to the weekend show. You know what I mean? So it's probably easier. Why aren't I fighting? Because I'm way too old to fight. I'm American. And here's the beauty of it. Good troll question. Why aren't I fighting? Because that's the beauty of this war. Okay. Right? The Ukrainians are fighting for me. We're giving aid to the Ukrainians and they're destroying the Russian military for us for free. Not for free. We're paying for it, but we don't have to risk our lives. They're the ones putting their lives on the line. We are literally getting the destruction of the Russian military with absolutely no pain at all. It's like having a war without a war, which is also why, thank you, Dr. Stranger and Kanausi. It's also why we should be super thankful of the Ukrainians, because they are literally putting their lives on the line and helping ensure the security of Europe and the security of American. But it is exactly as People's Purpose says, the bargain of the century. We are spending 5 to 10% of our defense budget in order to destroy one of the largest militaries of the world, and a military that is an enemy. We're not supposed to say this, but they're an enemy of the United States, right? We're not supposed to say it, but we are, right? Right. But we are. So yeah, it's great. It's great. And I probably am helping. Well, I certainly am helping more with fundraising than than I would be doing with fighting, because I'm not going to be a good fighter, but I'm going to be a good fundraiser, and I'm going to be a good news person to get the news out there. The propaganda, if you want to call it that, but it's good propaganda. I'm also nice and I'm sort of evil as well. I have a good evil brain. So Ukraine, if you're listening, no, the Ukrainians already know if they need help, I'm here for them. So yeah, but I think it's very funny. I think it's very funny when the Russian trolls say that. Why aren't you volunteering? Because we don't have to. That's the beauty of it. Anyway, thank you, Courtney, for the gift there. What else we got, guys? What else we got? Questions, comments. I know my hair in the trenches. I'd cut off my hair if I was in the trenches. It would be a disaster. What else we got, guys? Did I see that according to the New York Times, Russia's getting around? I did see this. I didn't read the article yet, but I saw this. The New York Times says Russia's getting around sanctions and is producing more missiles than prior to 2022. I did see that. I did not see what the reason was. Is this part of the whole thing where they're finding semiconductor chips elsewhere? I'm going to guess probably. But there's a big New York Times article on this. I meant to read and I forgot. Yvonne says, where was the Storm Shadow fired from last night in Ukraine? That's a good question. I don't know that we know. I don't think we know because it hasn't popped up yet. It hasn't popped yet. I don't know. Do you think this war will end soon? No. I don't. I don't. The problem is the war is going to end when Russia basically is losing. I mean, I don't think they're winning now, but it's not a tie, but it's kind of one. Now, it's not a stalemate. It's different, right? Russia and Ukraine are kind of like this, but Ukraine is now doing better. So Ukraine's pushing back now, but Ukraine isn't having a 1,000% breakthrough yet, but they are doing better. The Russians are doing a little better in Kupiansk. The Ukrainians are doing a lot better down in the south. But is the war going to end in a month or two? No. But the Russians have to be beaten. I mean, that's why I've said from the beginning, Ukraine has to win. Russia has to lose. And by the way, Russia has to lose because Russia is back to being a really bad place again. We're back to where they were when it was the Soviet Union. They're part of the, they're part of the excess of evil now, yet again, basically. And they've got to be beaten or they're not going to learn the lesson. They're going to keep doing this. Do you think Russia will end up using nukes? Zero chance, I think. I mean, I know the nuclear experts like to say never, but there's no reason for Russia to use nukes. All the experts say, okay, against us, forget it. Forget about it, as they say in New Jersey. The Russians love to talk, especially about the Brits. They love to nuke. They love to talk about nuking England, right? We're going to nuke London. There is a 0% chance that Russia is going to nuke us or NATO. If they do that, we would nuke them. And people aren't saying that, but the Russians know it because we're more polite than the Russians are. We don't need to say it. Because also, think about it. When you've got the power to destroy somebody and they know it, you don't need to say it. When you have to keep saying, like the Russians do 3 times a week, oh, we're going to nuke you, we're going to nuke you, it's because they're not going to nuke us and they don't have the power. When you don't have the power, you pound loudly on the table, like they say in the law, right? When you don't have the law on your side, yell or whatever it is. Or no, I actually, that's not the expression. I'm screwing up the expression, but bottom line is, yeah, the guy who's yelling and screaming is the guy who doesn't have the power. So yeah, and using nukes in Ukraine, there's no military benefit to it. So why would Putin do it? And I think absolutely positively, Putin uses nukes in Ukraine and the West enters the war. However we do, I'm not sure, but we would enter the war and that would be the end of that. So no. As long as Russia doesn't perceive us as weak, they're not using nukes, With the oil rigs radar gone, will the grain ships get through easier? Yes, supposedly. That was some of the talk today, was the grain ships should have an easier time, basically because with the radar there, I believe I'm trying to remember if the radar, help me out here, guys. Does the radar help the Russians with just the air or the sea as well? At some point, the radar is going to be a problem with the sea because the sea is choppy. I know that. But I know that basically when the Ukrainians took out or I should say took over the oil platforms a couple days ago. These are the Ukrainian oil platforms that the Russians took both. Breeze is saying, okay, the Ukrainian oil platforms, thanks for following me, Alexander. Ukraine the other day took over some oil platforms. I don't know if they're up here or down here, but they're more, I'm going to go big. They're like over here. And they're oil platforms that are Ukrainian, but the Russians have been occupying them since 2015. So the Ukrainians took them back, and the Russians had radar here. Well, the Ukrainians took the radar. So now the Russians don't possess the area, and they don't possess the radar. It's opened up kind of a black hole in that area for the Russian radar, which is great. I think to some degree, by the way, I had said this the other day, and it looks like I was right. I was mentioning the other day, I don't know if it was to you guys here, but I think it was, where I said the Ukrainian attack on the oil facilities made me think, on the oil platforms, because they were taking out the radar, made me think the Ukrainians were planning some kind of an attack on Crimea, that this was helping, and apparently it did. The new radar, even if the Russians take over the platforms again, won't arrive for a few weeks. So it looks like Ukraine's got a few weeks where they still may be able to attack again. Now, I'm kind of curious if Callum's here, by the way, as well, because I was going to ask him. I've been on CNN before. I enjoy CNN. I haven't been on for this kind of stuff. I was on CNN a lot in the old days for lots of different things. Thank you, Jean-Francois. But I'm curious for Callum or any of the other military folks. Typically, storm shadows are not easy to shoot down. How could the Russians shoot down 7 of the 10 storm shadow missiles? Doesn't that sound a bit much? You know, I'm just kind of curious. Or Mustard, you're here. Doesn't that sound a bit much? You know, you don't think they did. Okay, see, that's my point. I'm very suspicious. 2 of the 8 would be more believable, yes, or not shooting any. Yeah, that's because I know Callum has always talked about how, you know, storm shadows have never gotten shut down or whatever it is, and it just seemed like BS to me that Russia would shoot down like 7 of 10 missiles. I mean, and storm shadows of all things. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, that's what I was thinking then. Okay. So they're lying. Big surprise there. Yeah, exactly. The Russians are lying. What a surprise. How does Putin meet with Kim and maybe give artillery affect the war? You know, here's the thing. The experts are saying they don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I find that a bit surprising because the Russians are in trouble with their artillery. If they get more artillery from the North Koreans, assuming the artillery works, right? This stuff supposedly, it's the right kind of artillery, but supposedly the artillery could be from the 1960s or something. If it works, I mean, if you're not in fear of running out of artillery, you can use artillery until the cows come home. So I would think it would let the Russians increase their use of artillery. I mean, no, again, we hope they're duds, Timothy, but again, a number of experts I saw say, well, it's not going to really sway the war, make a difference. And I kept thinking, sounds to me, I mean, sort of like Ukraine, a lot more artillery for Ukraine would be helpful. You know, I mean, Ukraine is also using cluster munitions now to take the place of artillery, but I mean, more is better, you know? So I don't know. What else we got, guys? We do need to get the ATACMS in there soon. Yes. Biden, you know, who knows when he's deciding that. There is no latest news. I mean, you know, it's on the table. Biden's thinking about it, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what he's thinking about. It seems kind of crazy. Jets would be very helpful, Alexander. Yep. You know, but the jets, at least the American jets, aren't coming for a long time. I'm going to skip Discord tonight because we did it last night. Remember? We did it last night. I left it on for half an hour afterwards. So let's skip Discord for tonight, maybe. Did we talk about the Starlink outage? No, we didn't. Here's the thing. I have not seen further information on that. Basically, it looks like Starlink died, the Starlink internet, at the same time the Ukrainians were attacking Crimea, which certainly looks very suspicious. I did see a separate report that said that Starlink may have been out worldwide. There may have been a worldwide outage. If there was a worldwide outage, it wasn't Musk. But if there were a worldwide outage, it could be the Russians. Because if I were Putin, right, I would be looking at what's happening with Musk right now and going, okay, Musk is terrified of me. Great. Musk is terrified about helping the Ukrainians. He doesn't like the fact that the Ukrainians still have Starlink and they're using it at all. He doesn't want to be a part of this at all. And I know it's causing friction with the US government and Musk, with the American political system. It's great. So I need to exacerbate those problems with Elon in America. I'm going to do it by taking, if I can, taking all of Starlink down while the attack is happening from Ukraine, just to send a message to Elon that's basically, and he would literally, what's her face from Game of Thrones, tell Cersei I did it, right? He wants to tell Putin, or tell Elon I did it, right? So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It could have been a technical thing. It could have been Russia. I mean, I have no information to say it was Russia, but I'm saying it's a hell of a coincidence that it went down. And I don't know whether Russia can take down all of Starlink. I don't know. But if they can, and I were Putin, thank you, Elizabeth. If I were Putin, I'd love to put that out there. I mean, I would love to basically freak Elon out. I doubt it's Russia. I think it's more logical that either Elon pulled the plug if it was just Ukraine, or if it was system-wide, probably just a system problem, but who knows, Olena Tyrell. Yeah, Tyrell. Exactly. Ernie. Thanks, Ernie. But I also am suspicious of Elon. Let's face it, Starlink's been running really smoothly the past 3 months. I just saw one reference of somebody say that maybe it went down on their system overall. I'm going to yawn at you now, but I don't know. What else we got, guys? If it was system-wide, it's pretty suspicious. But again, I mean, I don't want to postulate because we just don't know, about what happened or how widespread it was. Well, U.S., I mean, the problem with U.S. doing business with Musk is he has a monopoly at this point. So they almost don't have a choice but to do business with him, but he's dangerous. He's extremely dangerous. And he has shown what he would do to the Pentagon if he could too during a war. And that's bad, What else we got here? Deep fundraiser. Our fundraiser this morning was very good. We did a fundraiser for Manda Bear's dog, Ruby, who has cancer. Folks can still donate to that. The link is up in my profile. Basically, go to aravosis.com. Any of these things, type it in the browser, my last name, aravosis.com. And long list of my URLs comes up. And the first one is for the GoFundMe for Amanda's dog. If you want to help out, that'd be very lovely of you. But we did very well. We raised maybe $1,500, $1,600, something like that, maybe, I think. Yeah. This morning, which is really good. Thank you, Muller. M. Fuller. Muller, I'm calling you Muller. M. Fuller. What else we got, guys? So I'm getting tired. I woke up really early the last 2 days. I couldn't sleep. Can't AWACS take over some functions from Starlink? No idea, Klaus is asking. Can AWACS take over? Now, AWACS have to be in the air flying, right? I mean, full time. We raised another 1,100. Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? I was adding your PayPal onto that. That's what was confusing me. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, that's still good. All right. Anything else, guys? What do you think? More questions, or should we just call it quits? And I don't know. You tell me. Actually, I can look at the news really quick. 1 second. I'm going to start yawning at you. The last 2 days, I woke up very early. Let me look here at the latest news on my Twitter feed and see if there's anything sort of additional here on the Crimea. Thank you, Sean, for the dinosaur. Appreciate that. Yep. Thank you, Danan. I'm looking here. I'm still not seeing. This is last night's. People are still talking about last night's attack. Some good photos from last night's attack. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. No. Okay, actually, Oryx is saying, let me see here. Oryx is saying, what is this? The visual confirmation now indicates that the Rapucha class landing ship Minsk has been destroyed, not simply damaged. That was for this morning, but still, that's good. So, right, so the one ship was destroyed. Let's see here. Yeah. I don't think we've got any more on Fireside of what was going on with all of this. You're just looking here at least at the latest news here. You guys, sorry. No, there's no other news tonight, guys. I'm looking here. Nothing late breaking or anything else here. Nope. Okay. Ain't nothing. That's wild. If Steve says if North Korea joins the war, what do you think would happen? Dear Lord only knows. I mean, I have no idea. That would be pretty weird and pretty wild. I mean, meaning if North Korea sent troops and everything, that would be a disaster. I will do the recap in a second, but that would be a real mess if North Korea did that. I mean, if North Korea did that, I mean, that's incredibly dangerous too. Thank you, Frank Thomas, because that is a NATO red line, because now you've got North Korea getting involved in wars in Europe. That's incredibly dangerous. Now, the problem is, Biden, Macron, and Schultz, would they have enough backbone to do something about it? I don't know. If Russia uses nukes, I don't know. If Russia uses nukes in Ukraine, I think NATO gets involved. NATO has to enter the war. I think they have to. Yep. We talked a few times about the Ukrainians hitting the 2 ships. Yep. They hit a ship and they hit a sub, pretty much probably destroyed both of them, and at least did damage to 2 additional ships, we think. So, anyway. All right, let me do a quick summary, guys. I think we've got enough here. Day 567 of Putin's 3-day special military operation. I mentioned the sniper fundraiser. We raised our $700, actually $780 we needed to buy a rangefinder and a weather kit for sniper trainers in Ukraine to train additional snipers. So thank you, guys. I talked about Ukraine's attack on Crimea last night, going after the submarine, going after a landing ship, possibly damaging 2 other ships, injuring 24 crew or 24 men working on the docks, and probably even more importantly, destroying the Russian dry dock, which the Russians use to repair ships. So that's going to have a lasting impact. Thank you, Feisty, for the gift. Elon Musk came up with a new lie about why he didn't allow Ukraine to attack Crimea. He now says U.S. sanctions on Russia mean that Starlink satellite cannot operate near Crimea without the President of the United States' permission. Did Elon call the President of the United States for permission? No, he called the President of Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin met with North Korean dictator Kim today. Their summit is over. Not clear what was agreed to, but the big concern is that the Russians may give some military technology to the North Koreans to make their weapons more precise, and that the North Koreans may give the Russians artillery, which is not good either. Russian forces have started to strengthen the 3rd line of defenses in Zaporizhia province. The problem is I don't get tired until later. And then I wake up early. I can't sleep. I've had a bad time sleeping the last few years, and I'll wake up at like 6 or 7 a.m. and then I'm awake. And I'm like wide awake, but then later in the day, I'm like, auctions. I already told you about F-16s. The U.S. could have the first Ukrainian pilots trained on F-16s by the end of the year, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be flying. Romanian drones. Romania, old age. Maybe that is it. Yeah. Romania has found the remains of possibly a 3rd Russian drone that hit Romanian territory, which is NATO territory. Not a good thing. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia have banned entry to their countries from cars with Russian license plates unless they're diplomatic. And Germany has provided Ukraine with 20 Marder infantry fighting vehicles, along with other stuff in a new military aid package, which is very good and nice and lovely. All right, guys, I'll look for a last question or 2, and then we can go. Yep. Angel getting its wings. I don't quite understand why the trolls wait until the end of the show. It's so weird. Wouldn't you want to troll at the beginning of the show? I mean, they're not very good at this. I don't understand them. It's like the very end. We're done already. Thank you, Danan. We're done with the show. And some guy's going, it's propaganda. Okay. Tell that to the angels. Bye-bye, Luis. Or whatever, Luiski. Let's look in here. What else we got, guys? That's about it then. Anything else? Other before I say goodnight, guys? And we'll do Discord tomorrow night, probably. Do I think most North Koreans would surrender to get a life out of North Korea? Good question. Who the hell knows? I mean, who the hell knows? That country is such a brutal dictatorship. People, 25% of the population is starving, is the calculus. The rest of the population gets by just on subsistence. So meaning like just enough to live. Horrific country, but who knows what they think, I mean, you'd want to think they'd want something better, but maybe they think the whole world is like this. I mean, literally in a place like that, you're not getting internet. You're not getting, at least in Russia, they can get internet. North Korea, what are you getting? Right? It's really sad. I mean, North Korea is just, it's just a blot. I don't know how the hell we let them get nukes. I have no idea how that happened. I have to look at the history on that one, actually, because it's absolutely, I mean, they're a bunch of nut jobs, and for them to have nukes is insane. It really, anyway. All right, guys. The case of honey buns. All right, guys. I'm gonna sign off. Find a little dinner. So look for me tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. Oh, not that idiot. Did that idiot Pakistani guy? What's his face? Khan give the nukes to North Korea? God, I hope not. No, North Korea got the nukes before that. Thank you, Super Hornet. All right, guys. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Beer Goggle. I will see you guys tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. Do go check out the new auctions. I've got half of them up. I've still got another 4 auction items to put up, which I will put up over the night and tomorrow, but we've got about a good 5 auction items up already. Go check them out. And please do, as I said, if you've been watching for several months, if you like my work, and if you can afford it, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. You can do that on TikTok. You can do that on YouTube, becoming a YouTube subscriber with the little $ by the caption box or by the comment box. You can also do it on Ko-fi. You can do it on Discord. You can do it on Twitch. Twitch, you can use Amazon Prime to do it, to my Aravosis account on Twitch. Lots of different ways. You can find a number of those ways at aravosis.com. You can also find them via the link in my bio on TikTok. So check it out, guys. Thank you, Red Watts. All right, guys. Have a very good night. I will see you all mañana. All right? All right, Europeans, go to bed. All right, guys. Oh, thank you, Kanowski. Appreciate that. All right, you guys, good